The latest update to Battlefield 2042 introduces two brand new primary vault weapons to the game, one of which carries a bit of a reputation with it. We're of course talking about the RPK-74M and the AEK-971. Yep. Every sweatlord's favorite AR and every casual player's worst nightmare is back, but does it stick the landing in Battlefield 2042? G'day there once again viewers, your mate Kamikaze78 here, and today we get our hands on the new weapons in Battlefield 2042. Alright, so I've had a couple of games with both of these new weapons now, and I've got to say, the sheer difference in quote-unquote value and ability here between them is significant, like night and day as far as I'm concerned, and you'll see what I mean as we get through the video here today. But, well, there's no avoiding it, you're all here for one reason and one reason only. Let's talk about the AEK-971 here first. The big question hovering over this weapon's head is, does it live up to the reputation that it carried from previous Battlefield titles? Are the Battlefield 3 and 4 Gigasweats in absolute shambles after DICE massacred their boy? Or are the casual Battlefield players who have PTSD-fueled night sweats from those Battlefield 4 days about to live through the pain all over again? Well, folks, let's just say that we are witnessing the return of the king here, because, oh boy, the AEK-971 is back and it does not fuck around here. And I think the gameplay you guys are watching in the background here should be very telling of that narrative. Now, in an effort to temper some expectations here, the gun is not quite going to be beaming people with 100% accuracy at 100 plus meters like the RM68 has been. The recoil on the AEK-971 can feel pretty harsh and is going to require some trigger discipline and bursting to score kills on those really long-range targets. There is a caveat to that though. The cone of fire bloom for the weapon, which is on a weapon that has an extremely high rate of fire, I just want to point out, is nutty. In the sense that, well, the cone of fire bloom feels practically non-existent. So if you can control that extensive recoil, you've still got a gun that can do some serious beaming out to, say, around 40-ish to 50-ish meters. And just on the note of managing expectations here, I would not recommend equipping the heavy barrel here in attempt to improve its long-range capability. The extended damage over range just isn't worth the extra recoil that is placed on the weapon with the heavy barrel attachment, quite frankly. You're better off improving the accuracy, that being the recoil accuracy, and just limiting the ranges in which you engage targets at with the AEK. So yeah, the AEK is not quite the Beamertron 9000 in the way that the RM68 is, so that does help to reel in the AEK a little bit as far as its, power level is concerned. But there's also no doubt in my mind that this is now one of the kings of the assault rifle category for close quarters engagements and aggressive gameplay. Hell, I would even posit that if you're a good enough player that can crack those headshots, this may be one of the best weapons in the game right now, full stop, no questions asked. The AEK-971 sports a maximum damage of 24 in CQC, which is then combined with a rate of fire of 900 rounds per minute. That nets a 5-shot body kill in 267 milliseconds, but if you start catching them headshots, it's a 2-shot kill, which will then net you a kill in as little as 66 milliseconds, less than 0.1 of a second. Now, don't panic. This is actually a pretty standard time to kill across a lot of the assault rifles in the game with headshots. The likes of the AM40, the M16A3, and the RM68 will all fall into this less than 0.1 of a second threshold in CQC with headshots. The AEK does carry a slightly, and I mean ever so slightly faster TTK than some of these weapons that sit in that ballpark, but we are talking a difference in the order of 2 or 3 milliseconds. So not even close enough to being within the margin of, an actual measurable performance to gameplay. The important point being here is that the AEK-971 is a very, very competitive pick here in the game right now, and is easily keeping up with some of the other benchmarks that have been set by weapons that came before it. I would even go as far to argue that its stock 900 rounds per minute fire rate gives it an edge over some of the other weapons in comparison here that have a slower fire rate, as a faster rate of fire does make make the weapon a bit more forgiving in the event of a missed shot. Because you're churning out more bullets faster, in the event that you miss a shot, you'll actually have another round out and down range faster to make up for that lost time. So it's a factor worth considering, but in the world of, theoretical time to kills and, perfect world scenarios, the gun is very much on par balance-wise from a time to kill perspective with a lot of the other guns that came before it. But on the flip side here, the high-end rate of fire does make the ammo economy a little harder to manage on the weapon, and there have been a few occasions where I've been caught out mid-firefight with an untimely reload. Just something to keep in mind here, especially given the match sizes of Battlefield 2042 and how many enemy players you are likely to run into back to back to back. In saying that, the AEK only requires 100 kills with an AK-24 and a kill streak of 5 kills with an assault rifle to unlock. So yeah, look guys, get out there and start sweating like it's Operation Locker all over again. You've got AEK kills to farm, and you'll thank yourself later for running this weapon. As a cheeky reminder, if you guys have gotten this far in the video and you're enjoying yourself, hit that like button and consider subscribing to the channel. It does go a long way. Also, consider stopping by our Discord. We always tend to have a good time there, and it's always good to welcome new folks into that community. But that moves us on very nicely to the RPK-74M, the supporting act to the AEK-971 in this update. I think it's safe to say. Unfortunately, as far as its performance in-game is concerned, I feel like the RPK is also taking on a supporting act here as well, alongside, the reputational supporting act. My impressions of the RPK so far can be described in one word: serviceable. At best. It's far from the worst LMG, let alone weapon in general, I've had the pleasure of using in this game so far, but it just doesn't really wow me. It doesn't have that wow factor that the AEK carries. It does sport some pretty impressive consistency in the accuracy and recoil department, so I give the weapon credit where it is due, but damage-wise, I couldn't help but feel as though the weapon was incredibly inconsistent, is the word I would use. I did get curious and decided to put the weapon to some testing in a firing range to work out if something funky was happening with the damage output over distance. It does seem to have a pretty aggressive damage fall off over range, but this fall off didn't seem to break the 5 shots to kill barrier for the majority of ranges you'll be fighting at. So I can't really put my finger down on exactly what made the weapon feel so inconsistent as of yet. So there may be some more testing that's to be done in due time, but the RPK sports a 700 round per minute fire rate, which with its maximum damage of 24 damage per shot, it nets a 334 millisecond time to kill in CQC against body shots, and headshots will get you a 3-shot kill and a 155 millisecond time to kill. So obviously it's not winning the rat race against the AEK-971, not by any stretch of the imagination. Comparatively, even against some of the other LMGs in the game, this gun is very much on the back foot, and it doesn't even sport the magazine size that you would see on a lot of other LMGs in the category to compensate. Truth be told, the RPK kind of feels like it suffers from the same fate that many other Portal weapons have done so far. That being feeling incredibly underwhelming and just not holding a candle to the rest of the options that exist. I mean, sure, the RPK is accurate, and with a bipod/range scope combination, you can actually have some pretty fun moments with it, as you can see in the background gameplay here, but I just can't see any reason to run this weapon over, say, the LCMG or even the RPT-31. I just can't. It feels like a weird AR/LMG hybrid that only brings the worst qualities from each category to the table, or like nerfed qualities from each category to the table, I guess you could say. So yeah, for the time being, I wouldn't be too hassled about getting the RPK anytime soon, guys. It does take 100 kills with the XM8 LMG and 25 kills beyond 25 meters with the AKS-74U to unlock, which again isn't the worst unlock tree in the world, but if it were up to me, I wouldn't be too worried about speedrun unlocking this thing anytime soon, in my opinion. So folks, there you have it. Those are the new weapons that came in Battlefield 2042's 4.1 update. I'm very keen to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below about these weapons, guys. Have you had a chance to use them? What do you think of them? Let me know down below. Always keen to hear your thoughts. Once again, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to backhand the like button, as it does go a long way to supporting the channel. And if you're new here, consider hitting that subscribe button whilst you're at it, guys, to stay up to date with all future videos and live streams that we do right here on YouTube. And as always, if you want to become more embedded in the community, consider hitting up our social medias to check us out further. Once again, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Peace out, and I will see you guys all in the next one. Take care, guys. Have a good one.